For preparing this cake, first we'll cook the pudding. Because it takes quite some time for it to cool down, pour 850 milliliters of milk into a pot and bring it to the stove to boil. While waiting for the milk to boil, prepare the pudding, sugar, and milk mixture. Mix 3 vanilla pudding packets or 120 grams with 8 tablespoons of sugar and 150 milliliters of milk. Just before the milk boils, add the dissolved pudding and stir until it thickens. In a minute or two, the pudding will be ready, and when it reaches this thickness, remove it. As soon as we remove it from the heat, cover it with plastic wrap or foil and let it cool. In a small pot, place 125 grams of margarine or butter. Add 200 milliliters of water and bring it to the stove. Afterward, measure out 1 200 milliliter cup of soft flour. When everything is almost melted, add a pinch of salt and 1 teaspoon of sugar. This is added to ensure that the crust doesn't taste bland. Once everything is boiling, add the measured cup of flour and stir until everything combines smoothly. Once the flour is cooked and everything comes together nicely, remove it from the heat and let it cool slightly. When the dough has cooled and is warm but not hot, add 5 whole eggs, one at a time, and mix well. Once everything is combined, the dough for the crust is ready. Preheat the oven to 200 degrees Celsius, then take a large baking tray and parchment paper. On the other side of the paper, draw dimensions of 23 by 33 centimeters. Do this by placing the baking tray and tracing around it. Then place half of the dough for the first crust. Now hold the paper and spread the dough. Once you spread the crust evenly, bake it in the oven. While the first crust is baking, spread the second crust with the remaining dough. The crusts are baked. The baking time is 20 minutes. They should turn out like this, puffed like a mountain. Once the pudding has cooled, place it in the fridge for 30 to 60 minutes. The next step is to prepare the jelly. You can skip this step if you want. If you prefer, you can use fresh fruit, canned fruit, or frozen fruit instead of the jelly. I'm making jelly because it tastes better to me. Use 500 grams of frozen fruit. I have mixed fruit here, but you can use any. Add 200 milliliters of water and 100 grams of sugar, then place it on the stove. While waiting for the fruit to boil, mix 35 grams of cornstarch, which is 2 tablespoons, with 50 milliliters of water and stir until smooth with no lumps. When the fruit boils, let it cook for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, add the cornstarch and stir until thickened, then remove from heat. While stirring, feel free to further mash the fruit. Lower the heat to avoid splattering. After a few minutes, you can remove the jelly from the heat. Separately, whip 250 grams of margarine or butter. Move the bowl aside, then place the pudding in the same spot. We'll whip that immediately. Add the whipped pudding to the margarine in 2 to 3 parts and mix it all together. The vanilla-flavored filling is ready. Separately, whip 500 milliliters of whipping cream. I'm using pre-sweetened, plant-based cream here. You can also use powdered whipped cream instead. Place the bottom crust, which you think is flatter, on a plate, then place a ring around it. If you don't have a ring, you can place the crust in a deep baking dish. Spread the entire vanilla filling onto the crust. On top of the vanilla filling, spread this cooled jelly. After spreading the jelly evenly, place it in the fridge for 10 to 15 minutes, just to let it cool a little so the whipped cream can go on top easily. Meanwhile, I will take this crust, turn it upside down, and spread roughly half of the whipping cream. Whenever I make this cake, I always flip the crust upside down so that the holes fill with whipped cream, and when I cut the cake, there won't be air pockets left. After 10 to 15 minutes, spread the rest of the whipped cream over the jelly. Spread it evenly in small portions to make it easier. Now take the second crust and flip it onto the whipped cream. Press gently so everything sticks together nicely. Now place the cake in the fridge to chill thoroughly.